All right. Excuse me. Let me close out. Turn my mic up a little bit more. And now I'm here. So what I worked on yesterday was this animation where it's overlaid colors and squares that are offset a little bit, and I like it, but it looks too digital for me. It looks too clean, and I think it's because the entire thing is filled, so you don't have as much a sense of the fact that it exists on paper. And I would like to do something a little bit different with that today. So I have things cut out. It's where this has a series of squares that are moving in an elongated circle. It's done by having one of the offsets be a sine of 360 of the radian or whatever, and the other one being cosine. So if you put a sine and cosine wave that are of equal frequency, then you will get a form like this, just a circle. And what I have today is a little bit more interacting of the same color sheet. So like the same stencil has multiple squares that interact with themselves, and I think that makes for a little bit more interesting of a thing. And then also having areas where there are gaps, and you can see the paper, or in the case of the bottom, you might be able to see the back of the scanner. So I have everything cut out, but what I need to do still is prep a few sheets of paper for aligning onto the sorry, I got a text and I wanted to see it. For aligning onto the rig that I have. So pretty quick thing to do. I just need to poke holes into the corners. So I'm going to turn off these animations and use one of the stencils that I cut out and these T-pins to just poke holes into the corners. I need one more so that I can align everything. So here goes one. And they're just poking into some pieces of foam core that I have cut as dividers. 3 and one more. And that's all I need to do for that. I have the most success when it's like 6 or fewer. In this case, these are acid-free sheets of paper, so it's a little bit pricier. I just do them straightforward. I don't use them as much, but I'm going to put it on the rig. Maybe I'll do it backwards. These have a much softer side to them. The watermark is less pronounced. Get all that down. Is this rusty? No, it's just got paint that's caked onto the side because that edge gets exposed. Alright, so next steps will be prepping the space for the airbrush. I'm going to turn off the mic as well as the visual of me here in the corner and the cassette player so that it's just a free space that has no interruption since I won't be talking, and then I can record the process and have that for my own use. Whether or not I end up making a video from it, I don't know, but I'll have it, and that's better than wanting to make it not have it. Okay, and pull out the airbrush and stuff, put on my mask, and go from there. Alright, let's try. Okay, so I finished. That didn't get turned on. There it is. Alright, finished with the airbrush aspect of it. Now I need to scan. Scanning takes its own amount of time as well as processing, so it'll be a little bit before I get fully done with it all. But if you have any questions, feel free to throw them out there. It's just overall the fastest way that I have found to do this, but it's still a slow process. But faster than it would have been a while ago when I first started things. This is wrinkly. I don't know why it's so wrinkly. Maybe it's just the humidity, or I don't know. But should have been too long. Whatever. Okay. Let me make a folder for this. Hopefully I didn't mess stuff up. Current scanning. While that's scanning, I'm going to prep some files. Is Photoshop open? It is. Wrong thing. Okay, that finished scanning. OBS, come down to Photoshop, turn Photoshop on, open recent. I don't know if it's, let me try just processing the images and then saving them into a thing. It might be faster, I don't know. Not what I want, because I saved that to the wrong location. Do something. I got distracted. shouldn't be where this went either. I did some stuff and it changed what's the most recently modified document, which is how I sort files in the Finder. Desktop, magazines, full squares, scans, pull this in here. Okay. Now we should be good moving forward. Turn down the music just a tad. Alright, now let's go left signs. Not overlap squares, I need 12 squares. Scans. And now, back on track. And hopefully this animation is what I intended it to be. If not, made a mistake. That's okay. I can't imagine this is slower at the very least. It might ultimately take a little longer. I don't know. It's the sort of thing where, like, image rotation, then increase clockwise, adjust the size to be 12,000, 9,000, save a version of it, and that is a line. Finish saving that, and let's start scanning this guy, and then I will align the next one digitally. And then I get to scan the stencils. Here's JPEG. 02 means that it's slightly removed. It's a little bit blurrier than the previous one. This one in general is looking a little bit more muddled, I think, because there's a decent amount of overlap and a decent amount of overlap where all three colors are present. Which for some of the other ones, it's very little that has all three overlapping, if any at all. So this one gets a little bit, more muddled in the color. Because there are sections that have red, green, or red, blue, and yellow. And mixing all three of those together gets you a little bit more of a neutral color. I do like some of this sort of spatter mixing. that gradient mix is nice. Where's the little dots? Okay, let's save this as a duplicate. Stencils. So they're a little bit more finicky because they physically have more edges. I didn't click OK there. But before I get into the next one, let's scan this guy. Wait for this to finish saving. Close out of that and open the third scan. That will be the blurriest of them all. Yeah, look at that. It's a weird thing where the closer you get, the more in focus it looks. Because at a distance, you don't see the textures of anything, but as you get closer, you get more of the texture. And you realize that the application is loose, but the actual recording of it is in focus. For the most part, you can see a little bit of blur around this bit. Bum bum. Bum bum bum. Save this as a line 03. While that's saving, alright, finish scanning. Let's start this other scan. This is number 5. And open. There's a garbage truck or something going by. I think it was accelerating to cross the street back there. Okay, scan 4. I'm curious what this looks like. I've gotten automated enough with the process of this where, like, I have a loose understanding of what's happening, but really I'm just waiting for the end to see whether or not my plan worked. or how it worked. This one is very off. I don't know why. Whatever, we'll focus on... how off is this one? That is okay. Pull this up a little bit. And what's happening up top? I think something just got messed up with the cutting of the red in the top corner. Kids upstairs are going. That one's done. Scan 05. This one, oh, okay, it's all in there. I was concerned that the placement of it was bad to the point where not everything was visible. Stop it. I hate when I just try to click and it's like, did you click 4 times? Or it doesn't register the space bar hit. So it just takes it as 2 clicks because it's moving so slow that clicking like 4 seconds apart registers as a double click. It's mostly an issue when I'm working with very large files. It's the last of the scanning that I have to do. Need to align this last bit. Oh yeah, I was gonna say earlier, my fingerprints are more on some of these stencils. I don't know how much it'll pop up in the final bit, because I ate buttered toast this morning and didn't wash my hands before handling these stencils. Before handling the plastic, at least. Or no, the plastic was pretty okay. It was once they had been cut out and I was taking out the individual pieces and holding them and handling them a little bit more, and that I had the realization that I need to wash my hands. I washed my hands before the last one, which I forget if that was blue or something else, but there are some oily fingerprints on here because of butter. So save this one. And then I'm going to see how well it works to just open up and import two things into that. Where is it at? Align.psb. Is it not in here? Guess I got rid of it. Anyway, let's open up the two that I need, which is align 1 and align 4. That'll be my baseline of checking the animation and presenting something for you to see, as well as seeing if this is faster or not. Save this. It's still a pretty large file, but it's not as large as having all 6 iterations of the animation in the one file. This is going slow still, though. Dun, dun. I'm going to quit and reopen Photoshop. Turn it off in OBS for the moment, because it seems to run better that way. And then reopen Photoshop in just a moment. While that's happening, let's Photoshop back up here. Now it is. Oh wait, I'm gonna turn it off. File, open recent, 12 squares align. They should all work a little bit faster, by not showing you what I'm doing. And it's just because it's faster. Otherwise, I would do it if it was like half the speed. But it feels like it can run at like 1/8, 1/10 the speed when I'm showing it for saving these individual frames out. And it's not an exciting thing to watch at this iteration of things. It's just watching a screen and waiting. So you're watching a slightly different screen and waiting. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to read a text. Okay, save this out. I'm talking about making salmon for dinner. This is the wrong name. I need all user slices. I should just about be done in 3 minutes, and you'll be able to see the animation. Depends how long this immediate next step takes. Thank you for watching. Sorry, right now you're just seeing a keyboard. This is just a slow bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. The only stills that I'm prepping for an animation to show you are the first of the paper and the first of the stencils. It gets you a general sense of things, and I get a better sense of whether or not I messed up the files. But, okay, almost there. Just popped up with a saving out window. 04, create that. 04, save those user slices. User slices is not a common term. The save user slices is because I'm using an antiquated thing to save files out from Photoshop. I'm using Save for Web, and it's when websites used to be built as tables where it's like a grid, and it would just be images that fill that grid, so you can design something in Photoshop, chop it up, and then have it reassembled in HTML. but the like max size of that would be a maximum of like maybe like 1000 by 700 or something. I don't know what the resolution was for that at the given time, but I'm saving out individual stills from a massive image that's about 12,000 by, not massive, but very large, 12,000 by 9,000 pixels, and I'm saving out little sections that are 1080. That's interesting. Okay, let's save this out. But it's not built for it, and it's not like updated in Photoshop. It gets listed under legacy. Like, you don't need to do this anymore. Why are you doing this? Anything that you're doing that's related to this can be done faster and easier through this, but it can't for me. Feels like it's gotten slower with the most recent updates of Photoshop. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for GIFs, and this should be a 1. And I just about have an animation ready. Also, saving animated GIFs is a bit antiquated, but it's the fastest and most accurate way I've found to showcase animations during streams, because just bam, there's one. That's yesterday's animation. It feels like it's so long ago. When I make things constantly, I forget things as well. Okay, there's one animation, and let's load in the one stencil that I have the individual sections saved out for. And you'll be able to compare and contrast in just a moment. What's actually happening on this is, or in the animation, it's 3 different squares that are moving up and down. Oh, I got this weirder. I think I forgot a math something in the mix of all this, because all of these should be crossing over the middle. And I think I forgot to just like put a plus or minus or something in the program. It at least loops, but something I made a mistake, because those are all meant to go across the middle. Let me pull up the file and see what I messed up on. It's not bad. It just wanted them to sort of be echoing each other. So where is this guy? This is for my own interest. Frame num plus square rep times single frame height divided by 2. So why is... Did I save out a different one or something? I'm happy with the outcome. I just made a mistake somewhere, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Cosine... Oh. I accidentally put a 1 where it should be a much larger number. That's it. Very simple mistake. That's how all of these go. Like, I can show you. Let's drag this to a new... Nope, I don't want that as a bookmark. I just want it as its own page so that I know I'm not going to have any issues showing stuff I don't want to show. Turn off this for a second. And Firefox... 12 squares. This should be it. Yeah. Okay. So, the mistake that I made. Here's what the animation is in this browser-based parametric vector program. there is a rectangle, and that rectangle has a function put on it where its position is cosine of 360, so over 360 divided by the total number of frames. So 360 divided by, if I had more frames, it would be a smaller number, and fewer frames, a larger number. But what I had was I had this as 1, which means that over the time period of the animation, the horizontal movement is very small, as opposed to what I wanted and thought that I had, but I had just made a mistake in typing some stuff in, was all of it to be crisscrossing. So that's the mistake that I made. All three of these colors and squares are very similar. There's a slight offset of where the animation is placed and the scale of the squares themselves. But the movement that's happening is, I have it set as cosine because a cosine function accelerates and decelerates and just goes from -1 to 1 and back again. So that's what's happening in this section. It's for cosine of 360 divided by frame number. That is the amount that it advances from -1 to 1 over a time period. And that time period is a variable that I put in here called time plus square rep, which is comes from this other effect that's on it, the rotational repeat. So as it increases, it changes, it's delayed on the animation. And then plus 0 is so I can offset it in copies of it more easily. And then it's multiplied by single frame height, which could also be single frame width. That's a variable that I built in. Actually, just leave it as is. Single frame height minus square scale. So it's going the total height of single frame height. It's making the distance. It's a square. I'm talking around things. It's a square but it's based on the total height of the active space of the frame minus, and as a minus of the scale of the square, so that it goes up to the edge and not up to the middle of the square when it moves. And that's the X motion, the horizontal motion, and then it's very similar for the vertical motion. And the square rep is this rotational repeat, so it has 4 iterations of this, and if I want to increase that total number, it'll create like just massive sort of thing, but I liked it as a square. But if I increase this by 1, then you have a pentagon, and it's everything moving along that center axis at a slight delay. But I'm going to, actually that was a hexagon just then. So that's what all's happening. Let me come back in here and save this out if I didn't already. I've lost track of time. So I'm saving this out. Give it a moment. Save this animated GIF out. Yeah, I did not save it as 4. I already did all the work, so I'm not going to revisit this to change the to have the blue crossing the center axis. One moment, let me turn this back on. could have them going in different directions too. It's something that I can mess with as time goes on. It's learning as I'm going, making little mistakes here and there. And there's a stencil. Stencil looks more surreal. I'll turn off Firefox so you can see this more clearly. The mistake that I made is not the worst. The mistake is largely inconsequential to the final thing. It still loops. That's like the biggest concern about anything, is whether or not it loops correctly. But this one does fine on the loop. Because I didn't make a mistake in pacing of it, or like the overall movement. I don't know. It's easy to make mistakes for if I'm trying to like mix up some motion or movement or something. Anyway, there's 2 loops. I'd still need to process the rest of it, but it takes a lot longer when I'm streaming because the broadcasting software eats up a lot of processing power. That's how I'm explaining it. I just know my computer runs a lot faster when I'm not streaming, when I'm just by myself. But that's basics for... It's not basics, that's just what today's animation is. And now it's time for spiel. If you want to buy stuff from me, you can go to my web store, traceloops.com/store. If you want to purchase something and have it shipped outside of the US, you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, commissions, etc., etc. Again, that is traceloops@traceloops.com. If you want to... Okay, now I can see it, I think. I think that the squares are wiggling, the ones that are just going like smooth motion left and right and aren't going at a diagonal. I think that cosine thing is jittery. Anyway, if you want to watch this stream or other streams in full, you can go to my YouTube channel and go to the live section. There's a lot of recorded streams there. I don't know how many. Daily function of like producing stuff adds up to a degree where I lose track of things. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Spotify, all of those places. I'm Traceloops, TRACELOOPS. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Traceloops, where you will find high-resolution versions of artwork that I create during streams. You'll also find a selection of tutorials, and then at higher tiers, new songs from me weekdays, and at the highest tier, you get a monthly postcard from me with original artwork on the front, little message on the back, and a discount to that aforementioned web store. That is it for today. Plan on being back tomorrow. I don't know. I'm still messing with these, but maybe I'll try to mess with using... I've done a sprite sheet before, where like I animate, create a vector version, then import that into the Cuttle. Cuttle is what the program is that I was just showing. And it's better for like quickly adjusting things because it's parametric. Anyway, music's done. And I think I'm done for today. Well, not done with messing with this, but done for streaming. Thank you for watching, and plan on being back tomorrow. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. Night. That's the one I forgot. Okay, bye.